right, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of Hobby Talk, presented by Vic's Cards. I am Vic, and today I am joined by Brad from the Closet Cards on Twitter. Brad, how you doing?
Good, man. How about you?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. So first question, real quick, it's just tell us about yourself and what you do for the hobby.
I'm hoping I do some good for the hobby. Let's put it that way. Mainly a consigner on Twitter, the Closet Cards and Consignment. Do personal flips too on eBay, but mainly it's consignment. People send me cards. I sell them using my platform. I take a portion, they get a hefty cut, and that's all there is really to it. I do all the pricing and shipping and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and as someone that has consigned with you before, I can say that is top notch, and I always get stuff moved at a very quick rate, and it's very
Appreciate
efficient.
it.
And yeah, people love your sales, and it's just awesome. So we're gonna move right into the first question. Is back in the day when I first met you over on Twitter, you would buy these big bulk lots from me. I guess it was Bowman
Yep.
baseball, and then you would move them because I just didn't have the time. So and I guess that might have sparked your interest in consigning. I'm not 100% sure, but that leads me right to the question. What got you into the idea or thought process behind I can do this full time? I can consign and sell these cards and make a good amount of money off of it.
Um, it it was a combination of a lot of things, honestly. I worked a job out here that was pretty demanding for about 5 years, a lot of on call. Had some bad bouts with anxiety with it, a lot of stress. And during that time, I was doing Twitter personal flips, flipping mojos I would buy for 25 cents for $3 a piece and just start building it up from there. And then had one guy reach out to me because when I started the page Closet Cards and Consignment, I put consignment in there because I was like, oh, maybe one day I'll just have it there. I finally had a guy that pushed me to do the consignment aspect of it and ran a couple sales with him, and it worked out really well. I was getting better quality stuff than what I was originally selling. So yeah, I kind of just steamrolled from there. I had a little bit of an incident at work at my old job that led me to have to put my personal health first. So it was one Saturday morning. I'm just laying in bed drinking coffee with my wife, and I just said, "Hey, like, want to give this a shot? Like, I'm not happy." And she's like, "Well, do it. Come up with a plan." It was supposed to be like a 2 month planning of it. I ended up giving my 2 weeks like 3 days later because I got really lucky buying a massive collection at a card show. I thought the first few months would be a lot of personal flips and whatnot just to grind that out until I built up a following for consignment. Um, got really lucky. I got some really nice consigners really quick. I mean, it really was luck. I'm extremely lucky when it comes to cards and all this. I built a platform from the ground up, which has been great, but I have some of the best consigners in the world. Like the quality of stuff they send me, rare SPs, rare image variations, same thing, I guess. But autos, like I have guys that join breaks all the time and are ripping like 2023 Bowman draft already. I'm already getting that kind of stuff in. So having that really good inventory right off release is massive for how things have grown over here. So it's been a lot of fun.
100%. That's awesome. It's an awesome story. I do this kind of part time. I still have my full time gig going on, so it's cool to see something that was a passion beforehand. Be able to turn into a full fledged business. So going into consignment, people don't know that there's a lot of challenges that come with consigning cards.
There
And
is.
I know this is a tough, maybe unfair question to whittle it down to one thing. But you as the consigner, what is the toughest thing that your consumers may not think about as a full-time consigner? What is that number one problem that
Mm.
you run into?
Uh, Occasionally, I would say it's being married to a comp, especially if you get stuff that was just released, um, like CJ Stroud, for example. Like you have cards of his that were doing 200 a week
Yep.
ago. They're down to what, $100,
Yep.
and it's hard to justify using those comps from a week ago. Like it's changed. So it's it's coming to a realistic expectation of what I can get for that card and to make it work the best. Like there's sometimes that I'll get a big card in, post it a couple times, get no bites because we have a couple great comps, but nobody really wants to pay that for it.
Yep.
So that's when I recommend like, hey, like maybe get this graded, maybe put this up on your eBay. Because I don't put any consignment stuff on eBay. eBay
Okay.
is all my personal inventory. It's just it can be done. It's just too much of a headache at this point in time. And
Yeah.
I have some ideas of how I can start doing that in the future. Um, it's just something that I don't want to do quite yet because I don't want to stretch myself too thin. Because as you know, like as soon as you start putting your hands in three, four, five different aspects of the hobby, things can start slipping through the cracks. Like I'm a really good consigner. That's what I'm great at doing. I'm going to stick with that and be the best consigner I can because you're also, it's not just money that I'm making. The bulk of the money is going to somebody else.
Mm.
And they're counting on you to price things fairly, get things moved, and have a good payout. They don't want you selling a $2 card that is comping regularly between 10 and 15 bucks for $2
Yeah.
because you didn't look up a comp. So like I still comp, I would say 98% of the cards that come through my desk, I comp. I don't really ever assume that, oh, this is just a $3 card. So doing
Yeah.
your diligence is the big key.
100%. And I'm sure that's probably the most time consuming aspect as well. How much time a week are you spending, just searching up cards? And I'm sure it's an absorbent
Uh,
amount of time.
it's it it's insane, honestly. Like I wake up every day between about 4:35. I balance my books,
Mhm.
which is the best way to putting to describing that. I do next day shipping on my eBay, so I'm shipping the eBay orders next,
Uh-huh.
and then it usually goes right into sale prep. Like if I'm running an evening sale, there's like 3 to 4 hours a day right there in comping cards for an evening sale. Um, I'd recently taken a break from selling on Twitter for a couple weeks, just to kind of regroup from the first year because I burned out pretty hard
Yeah.
because I would ship on a Monday after a big sale and then I would start the next sale right on that Thursday.
Oh yeah, you were
That's
you
not
were you were
happening anymore.
humming. You were humming
Yeah.
for a good while.
Yeah, it was getting a little bad.
Mhm.
So now I ended this sale. I just invoiced this morning. That takes
Mhm.
about invoicing itself takes about 2, 3 hours because
Yeah.
of Twitter DMs blocked out. Like you get invoices from me usually at like 4 a.m.
Hmm.
I'm invoicing at 4 a.m. because then I don't have people messaging me back as I'm sending out those invoices
Makes
because
sense.
then you start having things fall through the cracks. So I sent out probably 250 invoices today. I think I had two people message me while I was doing it, and it made
Mhm.
it streamline, went so much faster. But where was I going with this? Oh, so now what I'm doing is I'm starting to comp lots ahead of time. So
Okay.
I'll have about 7 to 10 days off in between sales. And at that time, I can start comping ahead and getting a game plan of when I want to post certain cars during certain times and whatnot. If I get a consignment in like between this little break, if I get some bigger 2023 Bowman draft or Sapphire or anything like that in, I'll probably post it up sooner just
Mhm.
because I don't want that market to drop too low in two
Yeah.
weeks. So I try to maximize the money for my consigners that way. But being able to take breaks on stuff that's usually not going anywhere in price wise, it's becoming a little bit of a key over here.
Good. Yeah, yeah. It's awesome to see how you've kind of like done it. Now you're like learning like as you're going and kind of finding out what's like working better for you.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like cool. It's cool to see how it's kind of, building through the process, which is awesome. I'm really glad that you're able to share this with everyone that is going to watch. Hopefully we get a good showing. I'm up over I think 1,700 views. I got about 18 or 800 subs now. So we're growing the
Oh, that's
YouTube
awesome. Good.
pretty quick. I've been trying to do it a little more, but obviously with a full-time job, I kind of got to, pick and choose my battles with what I can get done and stuff. But that leads me on to like my next question is with the most challenging aspect, there has to be something that's awesome about it. So again, probably unfair question to whittle it down to just one thing. But what is your favorite part of, doing cards full time?
Oh man, it's honestly I wouldn't say as much freedom. Like I like the freedom. I like working from home. It's fun. My wife loves it because I can get everything done around the house before she gets home from work because she works a really demanding job.
Uh-huh.
So that's a big benefit. I also from the collector side of things, I love getting cool cards in, like cool rare cards that you don't see every day, and being able to sell them or at least try to sell them. That's really cool because like for me as a collector, like I don't put a lot of money in my own cards. I don't put a lot of money into long-term investments or flipping or whatnot. I look at margins. If I can get a lot of cards at $2 a piece, that most of them I can put on eBay between 10 and 20. I'm buying
Yep.
that lot because I'm making money that way. Um, more of a volume guy when it comes to that. So when I get really cool cards in, like that's definitely the upside. Like I got an F1 card in the other week that has a print run of 3, and I put it
Oh
up
wow.
for I think it was like 1,000, and I didn't expect to get a take, and I did, and that was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I don't
Yep.
sell F1 a lot,
Mhm.
so when I get cool cards from different sports, I'm able to find buyers. Like I've been getting a lot of Star Wars lately, so being able
Mhm.
to get into that aspect of things has been really cool. It's just being able to branch out and sell different cards, and then being able to comp all this stuff repeatedly from guys that are ripping really cool products or getting in really great cards from breaks. You kind of bank that in the back of your head because when you go to shows to look for personal buys and whatnot, like you see a card in a box that's marked $5, and it's an SP that the guy doesn't realize is an SP, and you get it for
Yep.
$5 and you're able to flip it for 50.
Mhm.
Like that's how you keep the business going. So it's really the ability to continuously gain knowledge from the cards that you see and remembering what certain things sold for in comps. Like it's massive. So
100%.
really the consignment aspect of things, like it's a beautiful thing being able to learn what to buy for your own personal flips.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess going right into that, I'm just going to ask you, what is your PC? Like, what do you collect? Because
I'm a
people see you just selling stuff, but they may not, see the collector behind, the consignment.
Yeah, and it's definitely something you have to balance. Like there is cards that I get in with full intentions of keeping, like this is my collection, but at the same time, like you get some really strong comps on it. It's
Yeah.
like I can take that money and roll it into the business. So I've been able to still collect Kid Brian Hayes. I'm a big Kid Brian
Okay.
Hayes collector.
Yep.
I have been since 2020, 2019.
Mhm.
Um, I've started doing a fun project where I'm buying a lot of Clemente flagships raw and sending
Okay.
them to SGC to grade. Um, Probably the only one that I won't buy raw and send in the grade will be his rookie because I don't
Mhm.
want to get hosed on
Yeah.
getting a fake.
Yeah. Fair.
So that'll probably be the next big PC purchase this
Okay.
year is probably going to be a Clemente rookie at a lower grade. Um, the lower grades are much more affordable than they used to be, surprisingly, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, really big O'Brien guy, big Clemente guy. Pick up some cool catches here and there, but been a
Mhm.
Pirates fan and being able to collect some of these cooler guys, it's been fun. Um, but yeah, it's when you do cards full time, you do start losing the collecting aspect of things occasionally.
Mhm.
Um, I started a color PC of Heritage Chrome refractors of just players from other teams that I like. So
Okay.
I started building a little binder of that. So I mean, just funneling through a dollar box, you get a cool, I don't know, like Craig Biggio Heritage refractor. That's a lower number for like $2. Like that's a cool buy to put in the binder.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah,
100%.
it's hard to balance, but you can still collect and do this full time. You just have to be a little smarter with it.
Yeah, I 100% get where you're going. I've been starting to do card shows pretty consistently. And with that, I've kind of broken off from like basically buying cards for me and buying cards for like, oh, what are other people gonna like?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I've been kind of going through that. I'm kind of more right now. I'm trying to just grade out some stuff for the NFL draft. So that's kind of where I've been working on for the most part. But yeah, no, I totally get it. Like you get clouded a little bit. You're like, oh, I got to invest in this guy now. That way, if I grade it, I can 3x my investment into this. Meanwhile, my PC, I haven't added I'm a Yankee fan, so I haven't added a Yankee card since 2022. And meanwhile, I could have bought all these Volpes mad cheap, a year, two
Yep.
years ago before he came up. And now I'm like, I can't even get into any of the stuff at this because it's not even worth it for the PC at that point. So I totally get where you're going on that. And building off the card shows, I see that you do go to some card shows. And when
hmm
you are going to card shows, are you typically moving your stuff or are you bringing consignment stuff there as well?
So I don't bring any consignment cards to shows
Okay.
unless the seller is okay with me doing so. It's just one of those things that like once they're at my house, they're staying in my house.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Understood.
I don't want the risk of losing something at a show. Um, I mean, I used to set up at shows pretty consistently. Once I started going full time, I realized the amount of time that I was putting into that and trying not to stretch myself too thin in different spots, like I discussed. Like it was one of those things that kind of got cut. So now, if I do a show, I'm usually piggybacking with my good friends at CMR Cards. If you don't have them following on Twitter, definitely follow them. Really
Will
nice
do.
guys. So they do a lot of baseball. So I'll set out a dollar value box, and usually my dollar value box is at a show. It's basically eBay inventory that I haven't gotten a chance to relist, or it's been just sitting for a while. So my dollar box, you can find anything from a $1 card to a $20 card. It varies, but having that consistent inventory turnover and that ability to do it at a show, and the show we set up with is called the Greencastle Sports Card Show in PA. It's basically in the middle of the state,
Mhm.
just south towards Maryland.
Okay.
And they let me put out a box to their table, and I'm buying from them, they're buying from me. So it makes it really nice because like halfway through the show, I have another bankroll of money that I can put into other buys. So
100%.
and then a lot of these bigger shows, like I'm just going to buy. Like the Philly show, I'm going there to buy.
Yeah.
Chantilly, I'm going to buy. It's, but I'm still buying like very similar stuff that I would at
Mhm.
a local show. I'm
Yeah.
really big in the value boxes and whatnot. And like I can find undervalued prospects and display cases and whatnot, but I like my margins with the dollar stuff. Like I know I can pick out a dollar card and know I can get $7 to $10 for it, depending on the buyer. So
Yep.
it's a something you just learn.
100%. I typically do most of my damage out of my dollar box. Where I sit up in Jersey, I've been trying to get down to the Philly show. As you know, I went to school in Philly, so I'm very familiar
Yeah.
with the Philly area. But I always wanted. I'm only 45 minutes from Philly, so I wanted to get down to the Philly show. But always busy on the weekends that they have it, of course. But I always have a whatnot guy or somebody come up to me and they just clean out my dollar box. Sometimes they even just take the box, like they'll just take the whole box. They'll look
Yep.
through like 5 or 6 cards and be like, perfect. I'll give you, 250 for it. I'm like, yeah, take it. Like I don't care. That's 250. I can now turn into something else that I can flip. And if you see anything in my card room, I have just stacks and stacks and stacks of dollar cards where I can just refill all these boxes from ripping all the stuff. So yeah, people don't understand the dominance of the dollar box, how much you can really, move cards. It's really awesome to see. And I guess this leads me to my final question, Brett. Again, I thank you for joining me on episode 3. But my final question is, what is next for the Closet Cards going forward?
Well, I
You don't
kind
have to
of,
spill too
I,
much. Don't have to spill too much. If it's obviously, proprietary information. I get it. Um,
I mean, nothing is ever too secret with me. I'm pretty much an open book. I try to be that way on Twitter as much as I can. Um, Really, it's just continuing to grow the consignment side of things. I'm looking, I think the first full year being full time, I kind of grew a little too quick. You want to have that nice steady growth, but you don't want to explode overnight because that's when you get yourself in trouble. So, especially when you're doing this, like I have my good buddy Derek who works for me and does eBay listings and he comps cards for me too as well. And that's awesome. But at the same time, like it's still very heavily an 80% one man
mhm.
show over here. So really just trying to slowly grow. I'm looking into the idea of consigning certain cards on eBay because there is definitely a card on Twitter, the cards I post on Twitter that I know I can sell much faster on eBay,
Mhm.
but I don't have that ability for some consigners at times. So the idea of kicking off a second store and doing consignment on there has definitely crossed my mind. It's something that I'm hoping I can start moving forward with in the next couple months. Um, Once I get, I'm trying to think the best way to word this, trying to be a little bit more selective of my consignments that come in,
Okay.
work a little bit more personal inventory onto Twitter,
Mhm.
and then hopefully start growing a consignment aspect on eBay as well. But really just stick to what I'm good at. Like I'm good at consigning, I'm good at selling cards on Twitter. I'm good at the business relations aspects of things with keeping the customers happy, keeping the consigners happy. So it's just continuously trying to grow that and stick in my lane, know where my bread is buttered and what I'm good at. So really the answer is growth. Just
Yep.
keep growing. Don't grow too fast, but grow where you can excel.
100%. And real quick before you go, for the people that may not know you, where can they find you?
Oh, easy. Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it nowadays, at the
Mhm.
closet underscore cards. That's the main account. I have an Instagram. I don't really use it much. I check it probably once every like 2 months. Really bad at it. Um, closetcards@gmail.com. You could always email me if you have questions or anything about the process. DMs are always open as well. So I get guys that question me like, hey, what should I price this at or something like that. I don't mind those DMs. Like you can always hit me up and I'll try to point you in the right direction. But yeah, mainly just Twitter and follow the hashtag rate the closet, probably the worst hashtag on Twitter. You can see where all the fun happens.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. And eBay is the same name?
Yep, the closet. I think it's underscore cards as well. Yep.
All right.
I typically have about 1,000 to 2,000 listings up, and
Gotcha.
offers are on. Always welcome to make offers. So, yep.
All right. Awesome, Brad. I thank you again for joining me.
Yes,
This was
sir.
awesome. This was very awesome. I appreciate the time. And guys, I will catch you all next time on Hobby Talk episode 4, which is coming February 19th with a special guest that will be announced right before we record. So stay tuned for that. Brad, I thank you for joining me and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yes, sir. You too.